New location for this one too. This is Haunted Hills Hospital. Bigger location. Was it better as well?
Well, it's a first-year new location, so I'm sure they're still trying to, get everything set up with the new location. But I know that's one, like, Haunted Hills has been one of my favorites over the years, like the last couple of years, and there were some elements still from before. I like the way they have character kind of follow you through. I know in the past we had this nurse that was all bandaged. She had high heels on, and she was walking like twitchy. She was a twitchy nurse, and we had that through the whole haunt. I think it was the first time we went to it, and that was very entertaining because there she was. She was like with you the whole time. This time we had another guy. He was like bandaged up, and he had like safety pins holding the bandages, and he followed us through. And I got a kick out of it because in the scene when you're waiting to go in, the guy says, "Oh, watch out," because he's climbing on the floor, and he's like, "Watch out for the dog." And I thought that was funny because he was on the floor like a dog, but he ended up following us through the whole haunt. So you turn around, and there he'd be. He'd be like, sometimes he would disappear, but then he'd be back, which I like that. And as far as the haunt goes, there's a room with like old TV, black and white, with the Vincent Price movie. I don't know which one it was, but it was Vincent Price, and some guy comes out, and he was good, really good actor. He comes out kind of like prancing around.
Dressed like a woman.
He dressed like a woman. He was saying stuff to Brian, but
why it was
funny.
in a haunted house, who knows? But it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. Yes, it was. He was good. And then another part I liked in this haunt was there's a room where there's a doctor and there's a victim on the table, and it's a person. And next thing you see him peeling the spine out of her, and it was gross, but
you actually heard the sound effect.
You heard the sound effect too, so it was gross, but very like wow at the same time. Didn't expect to see that. And he had the face before. He would like peel off a face and put the face on and everything. So that was really good. There was a lot of storytelling this time, like where we didn't have before. When with the exception of those few rooms where you saw an actual scene. Oh, there's another one I liked too. We kind of went through was it a mental hospital or what, or was it a jail? But everybody's screaming, and there's this girl, and she's all bandaged up, and she's just looking, and everybody else is like screaming at you. And I kind of got a kick out of that because she just was moving her head and looking around and not screaming at all, and she's like all bandaged up. So I thought that was pretty good. I liked that, but there was a lot of storytelling, and a lot of it was a little too long. So it's something that we weren't used to in the past at this haunt. So that's like the one thing. I mean, some people like storytelling. Unless it's very like, depending on how it goes or how long it goes, I'm not that big of a fan of storytelling. Unless it's very, very, if it's done correctly or very well done. Because we've been in haunts where they do storytelling, like, and if the actors can pull it off, it's good. In this case, I mean, nothing against the actors. I mean, the actors were fine, but some of it just kind of went a little long. So this year, I'm gonna give it a 4, 3.5 for the haunt, but an extra half chainsaw for the Vincent Price room and the guy with the spine.
Okay, Haunted Hills, as Laura mentioned, has been one of the haunts that we really, really enjoyed all the time. We liked the enthusiasm of the actors. Even though sometimes there were younger actors and things, we always liked the way they pulled things off. And it was always very creative and unusual. And this was their biggest location yet, brand new location. Same town, Portage, Indiana, but it was slightly different location. Bigger space, longer haunt, actually. But it was effectively divided into 2 parts. The first part, I have to say, was better than the second part. Laura mentioned several of the highlights. The guy in the room with Vincent Price playing on the TV, and the doctor. The doctor was great. The spine thing was really cool, and he had a face mask, a literal face mask. It was his face, and he pulled it off, and he looked like he had a face, but it really wasn't a face. So in other words, he was putting this artificial face on to make it look like he had a face. So it was pretty good, actually. Clever. The doctor was pretty cool. We liked him, definitely. Additionally, there were a couple of other scenes in there that I enjoyed, and I also enjoyed the guy following us around. He was really good. He was silent, but he was through every single room with us. Unfortunately, after this section, when we got to the second section of the haunt, it effectively ground to a halt. We stopped. we were put in a line, and all of a sudden it was almost that we were at the beginning of a hunt again, because we started interacting. There was a character who was interacting with us, asking us, one way is safe, one way you're going to go die, who wants to go where, and et cetera, and basically telling a story and going on and on. And sometimes that kind of thing can go on and actually get a little bit, for me personally, a little embarrassing. Like, okay, this is enough now, it's time to move on. Now, that section didn't really have a problem per se. It was just a little slow. However, I have to say, in one of the next sections, there was a guy who was sort of an undertaker kind of guy, and he was speaking with a British accent, and he called us into the room. We were with another group of 2 people, and he called us all into the room, and he started talking to us, telling us things over and over again, and to be honest, it wasn't really going anywhere. And he then spoke to the other group that was with us. There were 2 girls, and he said he called the one girl a guy, and even though she wasn't, and she pointed that out to him. And at that point, I got a little bit of hot flash, like, okay, it's time to end the acting bit. But he continued. He went on, and then he asked me some questions and was trying to make a few jokes about anatomy and such like that. And to be honest, to be frank, it wasn't really that funny. And it just kind of went on way too long. And that kind of thing made the second part of the hunt kind of grind to a halt. Towards the very end, though, there was a cool clown room with a spinny floor and a nice surprise at the end with an ice cream truck. And there was a very cool actor outside on stilts dressed in a bunny costume with like a pick or a staff or a shovel or some big thing that he was carrying, or she, actually, I think. That was really cool. But overall, I have to say the second half of the hunt was a little bit of a letdown for me. I would have to say, taken as a whole, the first part, probably a 4. The second part, I'll be generous and say 3. So I'm going to say maybe 3.5 overall. But there's definitely room for improvement there.
It's still a fantastic haunt. Uh-oh, we lost our light.
Start
over. I got the thing in the house. I should just pull it out. The what's that thing?
The clapper?
The clapper thing. Want me to go get it?
No. You just have to... One of the hazards of being in a car. Okay.
Now we're going to have music coming on. Hang on.
I turned the car off.
Oh, you did? Okay. Oh, there we go. All right.
That'll put you in the Halloween mood.
Your favorite.
Oh, my God.
Okay. I can't do this now. All right. Okay. Do I start over or do I keep going?
Oh, well,
I need the clapper.
This is blooper gold, so keep going. But then when you want to do the review, start over.
Okay, you ready?